Hello and happy Mother's Day. My name is Ruth and I am the Magpie Stitcher here on Flosstube and on Instagram. This is Flosstube number 6 and today is Sunday the 10th of May 2026. This channel is all about my cross-stitch journey. I'd like to welcome back my regular viewers and subscribers, and if you are new here, welcome, and if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Okay, April was a challenging month for me. Most of my stitching was done in the first 2.5 weeks. My boss resigned at the end of last term and I have taken on more responsibilities at work, and that has left me with very little stitching time between shifts. However, we have almost got to a place where I can do some more stitching between shifts again. So yeah, things were a little challenging and things were not as they used to be. Okay, now let's have a look at what I stitched in April. With the stitch count stats, any May stitching that I've done is not counted in the stats, but there wasn't a lot of stitching done in May to this point, and if there was some, I will mention it when I get to those projects. Okay, well, I'll start with the WIPGO calls for April. WIPGO call number 13 was a new start for me. This is the Dreaming Birth Record from Dimensions. It's an old one I picked up at a charity shop. It is stitched on 32 count Fairy Giro by Paddock Lane Designs. I'm using the pink end. And I'm using a DMC conversion. Most is a direct conversion from the Dimensions colours, and a couple I changed because I wanted the teddy bear to be a little darker. I still have some backstitch to do, and also the name and date, which I will put in place at some point. So that is Dreaming Birth Record by Dimensions. Okay. The next one I stitched on was Grandma's Lilacs by Carolyn Manning. It's stitched on 18 count gridded Ada using the called for DMCs. Now I put 1004 stitches into this piece. I did put 1344 stitches into the Dreaming Birth Record as well. But the next call was number 14. That was the Rose Teaset. I didn't manage to get any stitches done on that. However, from the March calls, I had not completed number 3. My number 3 and 4 were the same piece, but for either one of those I did not complete. So I put a further 300 stitches into Cinderella. And that is on 32 count Lemon Meringue by Paddock Lane Designs, and the pattern is from XStitch on Etsy. Then I worked on my football stitching. I was way behind on I am way behind on this, but I have managed to put 624 stitches in. It's the Collingwood football emblem by Allen Binding, and it's stitched on 18 count white Ada. Okay, then I worked on the Heaven and Earth Design Sal. I'm doing Glistening Wings by L&L Designs, It's stitched on 28 count gridded even weave, and I did 1472 stitches, which puts me there, which is nowhere near the amount of stitches that I had wanted to do. I think I put 62 stitches since then in May, and that's about the extent of my stitching last week. Okay. Then was my cross stitch around Australia piece. It's Fellowship of the Ring by Maxispatterns on Etsy. It's stitched on 16 count 80 using the called for DMC, and I did 425 stitches. Okay. Now I need to make some changes to how much I can work on this piece at the moment. It's been sadly neglected. So I have decided that between this one and the Glistening Wings, I will stitch on Glistening Wings during the week at work between my shifts, and I will stitch on Fellowship of the Rings on the weekends. Okay. Then I had a thread a day piece. Now this thread a day piece was my March piece, but I just didn't get much done, so I've been playing catch up, and so I've put 762 stitches into Old Timber House, which is a DMC kit designed by Olga Gostin, and it's on 14 count Ada and using all kit supplies. Okay, now I said that I was going to try and get some stitches into Quirky Birds by Tidy Patterns. Now Quirky Birds is stitched on the 32 count opalescent fabric that is unnamed, dyed by Paddock Lane Designs. It was a die spot piece that she had on sale, that Lisa had on sale, and I put 566 stitches into that. Okay, so that's all the stitching that I've done, so I will move on into plans. My plan is to continue with my Heaven and Earth design Sal Glistening Wings, which you have just seen. Hopefully I'll get more than 1400 stitches. My goal is to get somewhere around between 3,000 and 4,000 a month, so hopefully I can get back up to that and maybe try and make up a little bit more for a lot of mess, although this month might present a challenge, given that I have, we're on day 10 and I've only done 62 stitches. The next on cross stitch around Australia, as I said, I plan to do that and just stitch it on the weekend, so I'll get some on that this afternoon, and that has not had any more stitches in May so far. For the WIPGO calls, number 14 was from last month, the Rose Teaset. I want to put the 500 stitches into that, and this month we've got number 15, which is also the Rose Teaset, which will be another 500 stitches. So I plan to put 1,000 stitches into Rose Teaset this month, and this is where it is at. This was a kit I bought off eBay many years ago, and it's a very stiff fabric, so I keep that down to 500 stitches because it is quite difficult to stitch. So I might have to do the first 500 and then work on number 18 and then go back to it for the next 500. So number 18, I'll call on WIPGO, is Stroke of Midnight by Theresa Wentzler, and she's down for 1,000 stitches, and this is where she is at. Okay. I'm also participating in Giro d'Italia, the bike race with Laura from I Stitch Birds. For that, I will be working on Cinderella, which I have just shown you. The idea is to stitch the number of stitches that match the number of kilometers for each day. So I will be going along with that. So today I'm a little bit behind, so I will be catching up a few stitches. I would also be finishing the back stitch and name and date on the Dimensions Dreaming Birth record for my beautiful great niece. And if I have enough time, I will be stitching, sorry, I'm reading ahead, Quirky Birds, and try and get some more stitches into that. I have been behind in that since last year, and I would really like to catch some up. Okay. Now let's talk about who I've been watching. I have just discovered Jen the Caffeinated Crafter. She's doing some lovely projects, and I have been enjoying watching her YouTube channel. Sorry, there's a bug there. So if you don't watch her already, go over and have a look. I will put the link in the description box. I'm also watching Mia Missing in the Stitch. Now, Mia is from Finland, and she has a lot of different pieces to see, a very eclectic collection, and I really enjoy watching her progress. Another person I've been watching for quite some time is Lynn, the Lancashire Stitcher. Lynn has got quite a few Mirabilias that she has completed, and she is she is working on Mirabilia. She also does hand knitting for her grandchildren, so she's a really lovely person to watch, and her projects are so wonderful, and she finishes them so beautifully. Barbara from Stitch Brat Stew. Barbara does a lot of Carolyn Manning stitches, and her work is really stunning, and she stitches them on various bright coloured pieces of fabric, and they just look amazing. And the last one is Belinda, Aussie Stitcher. I've gone back and watched all of Belinda's from the very beginning. She also does a lot of Mirabilias, and there's some lovely cameos of her children when they were younger on her video with her, which is in her older videos, and they live on a farm in Western Australia, so it's really interesting to watch her and to listen to her talk about how life is in Western Australia, where it's quite hot and dry most of the year. Okay, and that's all I've got for you for today. My next video will be on Sunday the 7th of June. I hope, given that this one is a week late. So until then, happy stitching, and goodbye for now.